Welcome everyone to another episode of Fantasy Knuckleballers. This is our first regular season show. All of our other shows have been preseason, and now is our chance to get into the regular season and see how things are going, and see what we can do to help your team during the regular fantasy season. Rich, how are you today?
Hey, I'm doing good. I'm just trying to decide who was a greater 80s band. Was it Megadeth or Motley Crue? I'm kind of going back and forth because I like Megadeth's albums better, but I wonder if the songs were better, were greater with Motley Crue. What's your take?
I've been to more Megadeth concerts than I have Motley Crue, but I think I would go Motley Crue. I think they have a little bit more staying power.
You think the Kickstart My Heart and Live Wire and Helter Skelter, all those songs hold up better than Megadeth?
Yeah, yeah, I do. I've
Yeah.
been jamming. I've been doing some remodeling, and I've been jamming out to the Motley Crue.
Have
So
you?
yeah,
Okay. Good choice. I do think Megadeth's albums were more consistent. Motley
yeah,
Crue's albums were a little bit, other than I like the first two. The first two were the best in my opinion.
yeah. I can't. I don't. Off the top of my head, I don't remember all their albums, but I did have one album in the early '90s that I listened to all the time. So
Yeah,
I I'm there with you.
I'm with you. Well, let's get started.
All right. So we're doing some shows here. We're going to get in a routine, but for this particular show, we're going to do some two-start pitchers, some pitchers to stream, as well as some waiver wire pickups, and we're going to do a DFS segment at the end for all you DFS players out there, and get you some potential players for this Saturday. So we have a few pitchers for the two start this week. We didn't pick out any two-start pitchers that are very high on everyone's list that would probably be owned by most in most leagues. We picked out pitchers that might be still available in a lot of leagues. And the first one I have here is Tyler Wiedner. He has starts against Cincinnati and Atlanta this week. He's pitched pretty good so far this year, and Cincinnati and Atlanta's offense have been pretty good this year, but they've also been sporadic. What do you think, Rich?
I think Atlanta's going to crush him, Aaron. We play him. The only good thing is he is going Sunday afternoon early. But I really think Ozuna, Swanson. I think we're going to get rolling. Our offense has been good, but Ozzy Albies has not been hitting that well, and I think Dansby's just getting started. So is Ozuna. I think we're going to take him out in 4 innings. So far, how is that?
I'm not sure. I'll tell you one thing. Acuna has been lights out so far, and if there was any reason why I might hesitate in that decision for him is I'm sorry, Acuna, because he has just been unworldly, and within a week he might have cooled off a little bit. So that's what I'm hoping. He may not get into like the seventh inning, but if he can pitch 6 innings and give up 2 earned runs, I'll take that. And Cincinnati, they've been playing really good at home, so this really might turn out to be a bad pick, but I'm willing to gamble if you're wanting to find a two-start pitcher. I don't think there's a two-start pitcher this week that might be available on waivers that would be better than Widener here.
And I agree with you especially if you're playing NL only and you're wanting two starts. He has had a really good start. 11 innings, 2.45 ERA, 8 Ks. I agree with you. It's a risk. It's a gamble, but sometimes you got to take those gambles to get those extra wins and get those extra Ks.
Yeah, totally. All right, so the next one here is Joe Ross. He's another pitcher that's come out of the gates lights out. Has St. Louis and the Mets. St. Louis they haven't been playing offensively very well. Personally, I don't think they've been playing very well in general. The Mets have been a little streaky here. Some of their offensive players have been starting to heat up a little bit, but I think it's a good spot for Joe Ross.
And I keep waiting for Joe Ross to come back and be that pitcher we all thought he was going to be back around 2017, 2016. I know a lot of years I picked him up thinking he was going to break out, and he never really has due to injuries. So I'm rooting for the guy.
To be honest with you, I kind of gave up on him about a year ago. I gave up waiting on him, but like I said, I know the Nationals have not, and they've kept with him and kept with him. And this year, it's finally coming around that all their waiting has actually paid off. So, like I said, if you can, if he is rostered, it might be too late to buy low, but you never know. If you can buy low on him, like I would do it. Maybe wait till he blows up in the start and then try to buy low. So that's sometimes what I try to do. But anyhow, I think it's a really good. He's in a really good spot for this week for a two-start pitcher. All right, the next one here is your guy, Rich Griffin Cannon. I'll let you talk about him.
Well, I mean, first you got to like the matchup with Texas to start with, and then he follows up with Houston, which will be a little tougher. But Griffin Canning, young guy, got a K per inning guy, playing for the Angels. I think he's got a chance to have a really good week.
Yeah, and like I said, Texas have came out of the gate pretty good, especially Nate Lowell. He's one of our sleepers for the year, Rich, which I like to tout quite frequently. But like I said, he's been swinging a hot bat. But I think Texas is a team you would want to face right now. Um, Nate Lowell excluded, and Houston hasn't really kicked it into gear yet. Kyle Tucker's struggling. Um, Correa's been doing okay, but a lot of their offensive pieces haven't came together yet. So I like Griffin Cannon here for the two start this week. Ahara is the next one, and he's another guy for Texas that has been playing, in my mind, lights out. I've been totally surprised about his performance so far. He's had some really good starts, and going up against the Angels and the White Sox, they can be good offensively, and this will be a good test for him. However, with some of the injuries to both of those offensive teams, got faith in O'Hara, then you got to start him this week.
I'm surprised there's one guy not on your list, I don't believe, and I think he might be on your do not start list.
Maybe.
Yeah, but I was thinking about Zach Eflin. And
Yeah, he is.
all right, Zach Eflin, and I'll tell you why I like him.
Well, I tell you what, let's wait before we get to
Yeah,
to my other list, and we'll talk about Zach.
go ahead.
All right. You want to say anything about O'Hara? Like O'Hara in his last start, pitched against the Rays, pitched 5 2/3 innings, gave up just 3 hits, no walks, 5 Ks. Like I said, against Tampa, and like granted, Tampa hasn't been an offensive juggernaut um, so far this year, but they're still, went to the World Series last year. They still have a lot of the pieces in place, and like I said, they're not a pushover. So like 3 hit the Rays is a pretty good outing for O'Hara. So like I said,
You got to
I
like
like him this week.
walks. Yeah.
Yeah. Michael Fulmer is another two-start pitcher this week that I really like. Playing against Pittsburgh and KC. I know Rich really loves playing pitchers pitching against Pittsburgh.
And I think, that's true for the NL Central and the AL Central. And he's got two really good matchups. I know KC has looked a little better so far, but I really like Detroit pitchers this week, especially if you're getting Pittsburgh and then getting KC. You have a really good shot of getting at least one win, possibly two. I love all the young guys that Detroit's got throwing the ball. They've got a lot of velocity and a lot of good young talent. They're going to be a good team in the near future.
Yeah, the only thing with Fulmer is he hasn't pitched deep into games. His longest start was his last game against Houston, where he went 5 innings, and he only went 5 innings and gave up 2 runs, got 2 Ks. So I think against Pittsburgh he'll pitch much better, obviously, and especially with Hayes being out for Pittsburgh. Um, Pittsburgh just doesn't have a lot of offense right now, and they probably won't get any additional offense between now and then. So I think Fulmore is a really good two-start pitcher this week. All
Yeah,
right.
I give him two thumbs up. I like him a lot this week.
Yeah, he probably is your safest out of everybody on this list. He's probably the safest one on this list. So here's the two-start pitchers to avoid, and here's the my candidate Zach Eflin. I know Rich, you're high on him, but like I said, I still like San Francisco's offense, and I think they're pretty underrated this year. And he's also pitching in Colorado, and because of that, I actually was going to make him pitchers to go against, and then like when I saw San Francisco and pitching in Colorado, I'm like, no, I'm good. I'll pass on that. I don't need that. Give me a Hara or somebody like that, and I'll go that route. So tell me why you like him there, Rich.
You know, I think if you look at his numbers, I think he turned the corner in 2020. If you look at him back in 2019, 2018, he's a guy that's always had a good K rate. His ERA's been in the low fours, and then his WHIP's been around 1.3. He's still a young guy, only 27 years old. He's playing for a good Phillies team. He's, like I said, he's got that good K upside. I like the matchup against San Francisco, especially with him being a righty. Colorado, if you're going to have a two-start pitcher, go to Colorado early in the year when it's still cold is the best opportunity after it starts to warm up. When you start getting into June, July, August, you want to stay away completely. But right now, I think I saw it was snowing in Colorado today. So if
Yep.
it's cold in Colorado, I like my chances with Zach Eflin. I think if we were picking all these pitchers and just picking which ones to roster, Zach Eflin would be near the top if we wasn't just looking at matchups. But I actually like the matchup against San Fran. And even though Colorado's not perfect, I like the cold weather Colorado start. And I think he's a guy that could give me 10 innings and maybe 10 Ks this week.
All right. Well, I guess we'll see. What we should take notes and tally up our scores at the
Feel
end of the
free to
season.
have your Joe Ross hands up against my Zach Eflin, your Tyler Widener against my Zach Eflin.
Yeah, like I said, I stay away from Colorado pitching in Colorado as much as I can. All right, Nick Niedert pitching against Baltimore and San Francisco. We talked about this before the show. He has a tendency to walk a lot of players, and like I said, I have a lot more faith in San Francisco's offense than you do, Rich. And like I said, at least he's not pitching in Colorado. If you walk a lot of players in Colorado, they will come back to hurt you. But Baltimore can hang a crooked number on you. It's pretty easy too if you give them the opportunity. Um, yeah, like I said, it's just he's still young, walks a lot of players, so I'm passing on him.
One of the things I think about is, a couple of years ago, Miami gave up Zach Gallen. They had other pitchers to give, and Nick Nahart was actually rated in their system higher than Zach Gallen. So that
Really?
means he must have some talent. if you look at his double A numbers from 2019, they were really very solid. I happened to watch the Braves game the other night, and he totally hurt himself. I mean, he walked too many batters. He let too many batters get ahead of him. He's kind of got a Rick Sutcliffe kind of move where he puts the ball and kind of hides the ball, and then when it comes out 94. So he has a really good fastball and some good off speed stuff. I'm kind of gonna in the NL only. I'm gonna roster him and watch him and see how he does against Baltimore and San Francisco, because if he can get the walk straight, he definitely has some upside and some potential over, a lot of guys. But he's got to get the walks under control. But he's a young guy with some upside. Comes from Braves country, so I gotta like him.
All right, I'll give you that. All right, Jesus Luzardo. I like him long term. He has a lot of upside. But this week he's going against Baltimore and Minnesota. He has not pitched well at all this year, and uh, until he shows that he can pitch effectively, I I don't want any part of him at Minnesota or even Baltimore for that matter. Last start he against Arizona, he only pitched 2 and 2/3 innings, giving up 6 hits, 2 walks, 5 earned runs. Like I said, he's not pitched well all year, with an 8.31 ERA. And like I said, Minnesota, they're a really good offense, and they're going to tattoo some balls if he continues to pitch like this.
Yeah, I worry about the Minnesota start too. I mean, but if you look at him, he's one of the top pitching prospects coming into 2020. He had up and down season last year and a rough start, but he's got the tools. And pitching in Oakland is a great place, a great place to start. He's one of those guys that I'm kind of, wait and see, maybe not pick him up, but I'm gonna be watching to see what he does. As maybe somebody that I want to stream later, or if I'm in an AL only, I'm picking him up. Or even a mixed league, he's somebody who could get it together and really helps you later on. But right now, he's a streamer. He's a guy I'm looking at to pick up, especially when the matchups are good, and I want to see him be a little more consistent over the next couple starts and show that he can pitch at this level.
All right. All right. So, moving on, let's talk about some streaming pitchers that are should be available on your waiver wires. And if you need a pitcher, if you're in a pinch, or if you've got one of these, hundreds of pitchers that are on the IL right now, might be somebody that you could take a chance on. And I know Rich and I might have some disagreements on a couple of these. The first one I like is Austin Gumbor. He's pitching the 21st against Houston. He pitched fairly decently this year. He pitched most recently against the Dodgers, 6 innings, 3 earned runs. He had 7 Ks. That's pretty good. Um, he's had a little bit of control issues early on. His first start, he walked 7. His second start, 4, and his last start, 2. So I think he's getting a little bit better with his control, and his strikeouts have been increasing at the same rate his walks have been decreasing. So I think he's getting a little bit of his sea legs under him, putting it together. I don't like the fact that this is in Colorado. I understand that, Rich, but like I said, I think he's getting better and getting ready to prove to all of us why he was uh, he was traded for in the Goldschmidt. I'm sorry, the Arenado trade.
He was a guy that I was really looking forward to. Had he stayed in with St. Louis, I was looking forward to him winning the fifth spot and really blossoming this year. Right now, I mean, he's had a great start with Colorado so far. I'm not gonna go out and start him in Colorado. What I would be interested in doing with Austin is possibly looking for those starts away from Colorado and using him as kind of a streamer outside of Colorado against some of those other teams.
Yeah, like I said, if this wasn't in Colorado, it'd make it a little bit easier. But like I said, I have faith. You got to have a little bit of faith sometimes, and I think one start against Houston, I could live with that.
It could be 30 degrees in Colorado and snowing, and he throws a
Yeah,
shutout too.
it's definitely snowing in Colorado tonight, so tonight's game has been canceled or postponed. So the next one here is Tarek Skubal. He has that infamous Pittsburgh start here on Wednesday as well. Talked incessantly about pitching against Pittsburgh. Um, Scoobles had kind of a rough start this year, but I see this as his opportunity to right the ship and get on the right path. What do you think?
I'm 100% with you. He's definitely, if we're in streaming mode, he's the guy that I'm looking to pick up. Unless if especially if I don't have a better option. I love the K upside. I love the fact that he's going against Gregory Polanco and Colin Moran and Newsom. Again, look to stream pitchers against Pittsburgh.
Yep, and that's all we need to say about that. Luke Weaver, he's had a rejuvenated 2021 here. He looks like the pitcher from 2019. He's having a great year, and he's getting Cincinnati, who's been kind of up and down. Granted, like they've been a lot better at home than they have been on the road. You could do a lot worse. Like he's having a good year, and I'd take a chance on the good times rolling.
Yeah, he's kind of been up and down the last couple of years, more down than up. So I'm looking forward to see if he keeps it going.
All right. Aaron Sanchez is another one of those players that has had a up and down career, and he started the year on the disabled list or the IL. But like I said, he's pitched well in spring training. His last start was against Cincinnati. It's five innings, 2 earned runs, 3 strikeouts. That was his second start. He has a WHIP of 1 and an ERA of 2.7. Miami isn't an offensive juggernaut. I think this is a good opportunity. He might get past that 5 innings limit there, and he might get into 6. Finally, get the first W of the year. What do you think?
Could be going against Miami. You know, he has a doppelganger. I didn't know if you knew this, but Chef Aaron Sanchez is very famous. Just when I was Googling the name.
Really,
Got to watch him a little bit earlier in the year. And,
Chef Aaron Sanchez.
yes, there is a chef,
I mean,
master
but
chef Aaron Sanchez, by
I
the way.
mean, did you watch him earlier this year?
I did not because I
Oh,
did
okay,
not watch the Cooking Network, but I
gotcha.
did see Aaron Sanchez in a late night game with San Francisco earlier in the year, and you know Miami's better offensively than you give them credit for.
I I agree. I've got some other players in, but yeah, I think it's a good start. All right, moving on. Let's go to Rich's sneaky waiver picks. All of Rich's waiver picks are kind of sneaky. So, who's your first one there?
All right, Tim LaCastro, the guy that owns the steals stolen base record, 29 out of 29. I love this guy. I kind of wish I had him on my team. I was watching the Diamondbacks last night. I like watching the guy play, put a bunt down, beat it out. He might be one of the fastest players in baseball right now. He's only 28. If you look at his numbers, they're really solid. He hasn't gotten a lot of playing time, but if you look at his, numbers, I think he's 260, 270 with about a 340 on base average and 360, 370, slugging. He doesn't have a lot of power, but he definitely hits well enough to play, and he can play center field. You know, I'm looking at him as somebody who could get more playing time as the year goes on. I think Ketel Marte is the guy that's in his spot right now, and he's on the injury injury wire, but he is a guy that's exciting to watch, and you don't have a lot of players like that that can sneak out and get you 40 steals. I like him, especially in an NL only league, as somebody to be paying attention to or possibly picking up and holding on my bench, because anytime that you're in need of stolen bases, he's your guy, and then he's a guy that's not going to hurt you elsewhere. I mean, there's some other guys like Roman Quinn who plays for the Phillies. The only trouble with Roman Quinn, he's going to steal you 2 bags, but he's going to strike out 7 out of 10 times, and so he's not going to help you any other place. LeCastro helps you defensively, so he's going to get playing time. He steals some bags, he can score some runs, and he takes some walks. So, and he can lay down a bunt, as we saw the other night. So I like him. He's a sneaky pick.
Well, he does strike out quite a bit. I'll give you that. He's striking out, well, I guess it's not huge, 22% of the time. You'd like for that to be down a little bit, but he does, like you said, have a 346 on base percentage. And that right there that's a pretty decent leadoff hitter.
I,
Um,
I
you,
yeah, I was surprised. I really thought he was a worse hitter,
yeah.
and got to looking into him. He's a better hitter than you give him credit for.
Last year he limited playing time. He uh, he had a 395 on base percentage, so that will play. So yeah, and I looked Marte today, and he's not. I don't think he's going to be coming back for at least another week. I wouldn't be surprised if the hamstring keeps him out for at least 2 more weeks. Unfortunately,
Tough for you.
yes, it is. All right, the next one here is Wade Miley.
Wade Miley is another one of my sneaky picks. He's a guy when you were listening to him get ready for the season late in spring training. He made a quote. I don't know if it was on Twitter, or if it was on Instagram, but he said, "I'm almost back." And what he's meaning, he's almost back to when he was a high threes, middle threes ERA guy with a pretty good strikeout rate. I like Wade Miley. I've got him on my NL only teams right now. And so far this season, he started off well. I mean, he's got that driveline staff at Cincinnati. They did pay him 2 years, 15 or 16 million. They must have seen something. I think it was a matter of health, and right now he appears to be healthy. I like Wade Miley. I'm going to be streaming him, in mixed leagues and looking at who he's going against. But right now, if you're going against the Cubs or you're going against Pittsburgh, you've got a lot of really good opportunities to use Wade Miley and gain some. But I like him as a sneaky pick.
I can agree with that. Like the Reds pitching staff, I thought was going to be an issue with losing Bauer. They have Gray on the injured list, and I thought they're going to struggle with pitching this year. And Miley has been a pretty pleasant surprise. He has yet to give up an earned run this year, which is always a great thing. He's has a whip of .55, and that's definitely impressive. So yeah, ride him while he's hot. Absolutely. All right, the next one here on your list is Jose Alverde.
Yeah, Alvarado. Plays for the Phillies. I think he started out the year probably number 3 on the depth chart as far as closers go for the Phillies. But he's a guy that throws 102 from the left side. He's all over the place. He walks a few too many batters, but he's came out the gate really hot. Archie Bradley's having some arm injuries and had some velocity issues early in camp. You got Hector Neris, who I'm not sure um, the coach is totally sold on. He was quick to replace him last year. I like Jose Alvarado to win the closer job before the year's out, and I'll take him right now as a guy that just comes in and gets me a lot of Ks out of the bullpen with an occasional save. I like him definitely in the NL only as a sneaky pick, but even in the mixed league, he's definitely somebody you need to be paying attention to.
Yeah, like I said, it's been a weird year so far, and I don't know whether it's because of the innings limits or what, but a lot of the decisions in games have been coming down to relief pitchers. And I think that's why I'm struggling with wins, is because a lot of these relievers are getting the wins instead of the starters. Um, Alvarado has 2 wins and a save so far, and like I said, in the short amount of time we've played, that's pretty useful. And I think you can probably count on a lot more wins out of relievers this year than in past years. So I think I'm going to try to get another reliever or two in my lineup just to at least early in the season until starters are stretched out.
Yeah, I
So
think that's a good point because I think teams are going to take it slow. You're not going to see a lot of pitchers go more than 5 innings, and you'll see a lot of 4 inning guys. I know last week I got hit with a couple of guys like Chase Anderson going 4 innings for me, and then somebody else comes in and gets the win. But so I think you're right. Right now is a good time to be looking for those relievers to help you out.
all right, speaking of relievers, Sean Newcomb for the Braves. Tell us about him and why you put him on the list.
He came up as a starter, came out of the gate really hot, and then kind of fell off. I like him right now. Will Smith is the closer in Atlanta. He's been kind of up and down. If you looked at his outing today, I think he had 3 walks and then three
Yep.
Ks.
Yep.
And he's blown some saves. I know he's blown 2 saves this year. One of them was a throw out at the plate, but so it makes you wonder who's next up. And then Chris Martin's out. He's a guy that's injured right now. And then you've got AJ Minter, who I really thought would be the third man up and the guy that would probably be second man up before the year was out. And he's been hot and cold. But the one guy that's came out of the gate, out of the bullpen really hot is Sean Newcomb. He's been throwing, I think he had 9 Ks in either, I don't know how many innings, 5 or 6 innings, but he's pitched really well. He's a guy that comes from the left side. He's 6'5" and throws 97, 98 out of the bullpen. He could be a guy that ends up in the closer role before the year's out, especially if Will Smith continues to have trouble. But he's a guy that I'm kind of keeping an eye on and watching. And if I have the spot, he's somebody I might pick up because I think he could find his way into the closer role if Will Smith continues to have trouble.
That's not a bad decision either. He does have a save and a win already this year, so he's pitched. He's pitched well. He's only given up a run in one of his 4 games. Um, he has a ton of strikeouts already for the number of innings since he's pitched. So yeah, like I said, he's striking out a ton of people right now. So it does make a lot of sense.
Yeah, and
All
both these guys are high strikeout guys, so that's
yeah.
what you want out of your relief pitchers if they're not closers.
All right. Well, I've got some super duper deep waiver picks here. They're just guys looking around. If you're in leagues like Rich and myself, where you have a lot of players and a lot of you have to start digging deep to find potential players. I've come up with a list of players you can look at to hang on to. Adolis Garcia, an outfielder for Texas. He's kind of a utility guy. A lot of these players are utility guys. They play all over the place because they're young. They're trying to, catch on. Garcia has been hitting the ball well. Out of the group here, he probably would be the one I would target first out of the ones that might be available. Texas is still trying to find stars to put in their outfield. They don't have anybody that's out there that's a veteran that is going to take that job and not let it go. So Garcia has the opportunity to make some hay. Andrew Young, he's a rookie. He's a little bit of an older rookie. He has been playing kind of sparingly. He had his first start the other night, hit a grand slam in his only with his only hit. Alex Woods coming off the injured list. Actually, Sunday has another start next week. Um, he's been out for a while. He has the rotation spot because of injuries. Might not be a bad pickup to add. He probably won't be asked to pitch a lot early, but like I say, he could build up his workload. Marcano, utility for San Diego. The story with him, he's 21 years old. he tore up spring training. He tore up spring training, and San Diego brought him along with the big club to the majors when they broke camp, just to reward him as for having a spring. He's not been playing a lot. He's been playing sparingly. He got his first start earlier this week. He had a pretty good game. I believe he hit a home run in that game too. So there's a lot of competition that we've set in San Diego. But with Will Myers getting injured and a couple other injuries to like Tatis and a few others, you know, you could do a lot worse as a speculative ad with Marcano here. Zach McKinstry, he's actually had another one of the guys who had a good spring training. Got invited to the show at end of spring training. He's been biding his time, playing here, there as a utility guy. Like I said, he's actually been playing well off the bench and in spot starts.
You know,
Um,
he's done really well.
yeah, yeah,
And what shocks me is I can probably go 200, 250 deep in prospects. And the Dodgers bring this guy up who I don't know, who's 26, 27 years old. I've never heard of him. And
yeah,
he's playing great.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
so hats off to the Dodgers for finding these guys. I mean, you think back to who was Max Muncy? Nobody knew who he was. Chris Taylor, who was he? He was a fourth outfielder maybe with no pop.
Yep.
Max Muncy was an old guy, got released couldn't play for the A's with like 2 home runs. So who knows? Maybe Zach McKinstry is the next big name for the Dodgers that they develop.
Well, even their third baseman, like
Yeah.
Justin Turner was a leftover from the Mets who shipped him off. Like, they picked him up and it's been great things ever since. So, yeah, there's something to that. McKinstry, like you could do a lot worse. Like right now, he doesn't have an everyday spot, but like I said, he's been playing well, and if they're giving him at bats and he's been playing well, you might as well take advantage of it. And Travis Shaw, he's not somebody that I have really been high on, but he's playing well. They shipped out Arcia, so there's playing time there with especially with Wong being injured and Hira being having to shift over back over to second base. Like there's playing time for Travis Shaw, and he's been playing well. I don't foresee that translating to a full year of production, but ride him while he's hot.
You
If he,
know, and here's my thing. Right now we're looking at super deep guys. So when I look at Travis Shaw, he's the one guy on the list that's done it. He's actually has a 30 home run season. So he is a guy that potentially could get hot and could help your team. When I'm looking, especially at deep sleepers, I'm looking at somebody that's going to help me either win the job outright and going to be, a top notch player, or somebody that can either help me hit home runs or get stolen bases. And Travis Shaw is one of those guys. I mean, right now he looks good playing third base for Milwaukee. And if you look at his numbers, even though he's had some cold streaks and his batting average has not always been, super high, his power's carried over. So he's a guy. If you're in need of some power off the bench and you're looking to add a player, if he gets consistent playing time, you could potentially have a 20, 30 home run, especially an NL only 30 home run guy that you can put in your utility spot or put in if you got a weak third base spot that could help you.
yeah,
I won't say
absolutely.
it's a given, but it's there. It's in his makeup. Alex Wood's another guy. You were just mentioning him. I kind of want to see how he hasn't done it the last couple of years, but in his background in the past, he was always a really good pitcher up and through, I think 2018, 2019, and 2020 wasn't that good. Or maybe 2018 wasn't that good. But if he can get back on track, and San Francisco's done a really good job of uh, making these pitchers better than they are over the last year or two. So I'm kind of looking forward to see what San Francisco does for Discafini and Wood, to see what they do with those two pitchers, and see if Alex Wood can get some of his velocity back. If he can hit around 90 with his fastball, he's got good enough stuff. He was a really good pitcher there for a while.
Yeah, in 2017 he won 16 games. 2018 wasn't a bad year. He had a 3.68 ERA. 2019 when he got traded to Cincinnati for started 7 games, it wasn't very good. Last year was kind of a train wreck. So like I said, Discafani, he's pitching great out there. Cueto's been pitching great out there. So, like I said, there's no reason to think that Alex Wood can't be helped by the coaching staff and the environment out there either.
If
Like it could do a lot worse.
Oh, I agree. And if you're in NL only, he's definitely somebody to be on the watch for and look at picking up, especially if he goes out. I think he starts Sunday if he goes out and pitches well. And then even for your mixed leagues, he's definitely a guy to keep an eye on for streaming because if he can show that he's healthy and show that he can pitch, he's a guy that's done it in the past. So you like having those guys on your team.
Absolutely. All right, now for the last thing of the day, we're going to do a little DFS. Which before I change this here, some of these super deep waivers would be excellent candidates for DFS. A lot of these players won't have huge DFS salary. McKinstry's kind of coming up because he's had several good days, but any of these players, check the daily lineups, and if they're starting, like I said, these would be super cheap DFS plays given the matchup. So, like I said, all these players are great DFS options. So, so this is kind of hard to do on a podcast, but we're going to attempt this and see how it goes. Welcome your feedback and let us know if this works for you, if this is a good format. If so, we'll do it more often. This is for the Saturday DFS. Particularly, the values are for FanDuel. 3 players projected to play for the 17th. By no means do we want to say that these players are guaranteed locks or anything. We're not bookies. We're not going to say you should bet the hounds on any of these. So put that disclaimer out there now. But if you are playing DFS and you want some low low dollar amount options, I think these 3 are good options for you. Ozuna against Trevor Williams, $2,800, has a 438 average and 500 slugging percentage against Williams. Hampson versus Lucchesi on Saturday. Granted, there's a have to watch this game because Friday night's game, has been postponed. So we have to make sure that, watch the lineups. They may change pitching, but right now, that was the proposed lineup and the proposed starting pitcher. Garrett Hampson, $2,800. He has a 308 average against Lucchesi and a 539 slugging percentage. Kepler versus Quintana, $2,900. He has a 313 average and a 500 slugging percentage against Quintana. So these are all low value players that you may get some value on. Like I said, depending on the starts, make sure all these players are in the starting lineup tomorrow. But make sure, but these could be low value players that get you some value. And also, don't forget about Fernando Tatis Jr. He's projected to come off the IL tonight, and right now he's a bargain at $3,000. So you can get him into your lineup relatively cheap. It being I guess it was his shoulder that was the injury, but playing. He's in pain free right now, so I think it would be an excellent opportunity for you to get him into your lineup relatively cheap. Any thoughts on that, Rich?
No, I think you covered it. I just really had a question. Your guy Christian Pache is out in Atlanta with an injury.
Yeah.
Ender Inciarte went down today. So, do the Braves call up Drew Waters?
You know, I
You
almost
know,
I almost put him on my super deep sleepers. I was like this close. So like yeah, like
I don't
hopefully
know. When are they going to bring him up? Is the question. They've been
if they
reluctant so far, but
They have. I think if they bring him up, man, like you want to see a mass waiver claim. Like I said, get your waiver claims in early. Like go ahead and proactively do that one. Not if you wait until it's official, then there'll be four guys ahead of you. So go ahead and do it now.
Right, and the Braves seem to like Acuna in right field and don't seem to really want to move him to center. I'm just kind of curious to see what happens right now because they got Ozuna in left, they got Acuna in right. I don't know who else would be their next outfielder. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I think Waters has a definite shot there. Like if not now, when. All right. Anybody else you want to bring up or throw out? That was a good little nugget there, Rich.
No, I think you covered it great.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening. Please, please, please leave us feedback. Tell us what you like. Tell us what we can improve upon. Don't forget to email us at mvp@fantasyknuckleballers.com. Catch us on Twitter at fknuckleballers, and check out our site at fantasyknuckleballers.com. Thanks, and like I said, look for us soon for the next podcast. Thank you.
Thanks. See you guys.